This is exactly what we wanted to see from the Phoenix Suns, as Royce O'Neale is proving to be one of the premier bench players for this Suns team and has really come to life for this bench unit so far this season as a very solid three-point shooter. He's gone through some streaks, but he has been able to find his rhythm and role within Mike Budenholzer's system. So we're going to be looking at Royce O'Neale and how impactful he has been for the Phoenix Suns this season. All of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support for CJ and I over on this channel. And we're very, very appreciative of that. We're going to be grinding our way through December and getting videos out for you guys. So if you do enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button to get us to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the new year. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, this is what the Suns need, as obviously this team is looking to compete in the Western Conference. And as we saw last season, player in Royce O'Neale, who was acquired at the trade deadline, fit in at some spurts, but wasn't the 3-and-D wing that the Suns really had hoped for to stand out when they acquired him. But this season, he has really taken that leap and really stepped up for the Suns in this bench role, which has been key for the success for this team. As we all know, the Suns have been a top tier team in the Western Conference when healthy. They obviously went on that losing streak a little bit when Durant and Beal went down, but the Suns have been able to bounce back ever since they have returned, beating the Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors in their last two constants games versus the Lakers and Warriors, having Beal and Durant, or having Durant back in the line with Beal sitting out versus the Warriors. But for the Suns, they'll be waiting to gear up and take on some more Western Conference opponents and to fight in that Western Conference to get back into that top echelon tier. And with doing that, Royce O'Neale has been a standout player. So let's look at Royce O'Neale and look at how impactful he truly has been for this Suns team. Now, if we want to look for this, we can see quote here from Kevin Durant on the reliability of Royce O'Neale, who's shooting 46% on catch and shoot threes to begin this season. This is courtesy of Shane Young, which is a 10% percentage point higher than last season with the Suns. Durant, in this clip, I do not have it, basically said for the Suns that he believes in Royce O'Neale. He's played with Royce O'Neale, obviously, previously in Brooklyn, and he feels comfortable playing alongside a player in Royce that he can do this consistently for the Suns. And before I was making content over on Suns Digest, I was saying to my friends that the Suns should have went after and got players either in Royce O'Neale or went out and got player in Dorian Finney-Smith from the Nets, as I felt they would have been a solid 3-and-D wing for this team. The Suns did go and get O'Neale, and even though he didn't have the greatest season last year, the Suns still rewarded him with his play by giving him a extension this season. I believe it was a 4-year, $44 million extension for Royce O'Neale, and he is going to be locked up a long term alongside this Suns roster. But that was a smart move, as he has been providing some pretty solid shooting off the bench for the Suns. If we want to look at Royce's stats so far this season, we can see he's averaging 9.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists on 42% shooting from the field and 42% from three-point range. He shoots 55% on corner threes, where 95 of his threes are assisted, and where 64 of his percent of his shots that do go in are three-pointers. And if we do want to look at some advanced stats to kind of get some better understanding and knowledge of Royce O'Neale, we can dive in and look at this. If we want to look at Shot Creator's new advanced stats website. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely go. You can see every player's shot chart. And if we want to look at Royce O'Neale's shot chart so far from the season, we can see he's brewing very, very solid from that three-point arch work and in that mid-range work. But in the paint is where he seems to struggle in the left corner, or yes, on the left corner as well. He does seem to struggle from three-point range, but a majority of the shots that Royce O'Neale is taking from three-point range or from the mid-range have been beneficial for the Suns. And if we want to look at Royce O'Neale's stats per game here, courtesy of Shot Creator, we can see that he's averaging, like I said, 9.5 points, but doing pretty solid in the rebounding and three-point shooting category for the small forward per game, and solid on the block percentage. Now, he isn't having the greatest free throw makes and has been, middle of the pack everywhere else. And if we want to look at his per 36, we can see he is a little bit worse in that points per game at 13.7 if he were to be increased to be playing 36 minutes a game, but his 3-point percentage would be in the top tier. But majority is looking at those per game stats. And if we want to look at Royce's stat and box score from the previous games, we can obviously see from the true shooting percentage and from obviously the points that he scored, he's been a very streaky shooter for this team. Now, he obviously had a little bit of a hotter start towards the beginning of the year, has kind of cooled down, but playing with players like Durant, playing with players Beal and Booker makes it a little bit easier for players in Royce O'Neale, and he doesn't have to take that big of a role. Royce O'Neale, obviously, with having Durant out and Beal, was required to take more looks, have to be more efficient from 3-point range. And if it wasn't falling for him, then obviously it was looking worse as a team because he was one of their primary 3-point shooters still available. Obviously, inserting Durant, inserting Beal, inserting Booker makes it a little bit easier for Royce to kind of take that pressure off of him and kind of get back more in his role. I think Royce is very successful for this Suns team in that, sixth to seventh man off the bench. I wouldn't necessarily, he could play 6-man for sure, but I think the Suns have some guys a little bit ahead of him. And I ultimately think as like a 7th, 8th man off the bench as a wing for this team, truly could be 6th guy off the bench, first guy off the bench in some instances if he is really hot, could be key for this roster. Like we said, we do have a majority of wings on this team that can kind of similarly play this role like Royce. We've seen Ryan Dunn get his 3-point shot down through some repetition in practice this year, which has been really game-changing, even though if it's been a little bit streaky since the season has started. Grayson Allen is also a little bit of a wing guard who can shoot, and even Josh Okogie has found some rhythm in that shooting as well. All 4 of those players truly, I think, can play similarly a role for this Suns team. So when it gets down to it, the Suns trying to figure out who are those better players and who's really sticking and standing out to kind of continue with this roster. And I think Royce has really emerged himself as one of those candidates. Like I mentioned, he's locked up on a long-term deal with this Suns team. They just gave him that extension, which is key. And like he said, like Kevin Durant said earlier, he has played with Royce O'Neale. He has some familiarity with a player like him, and Royce can kind of be that replacement wing for Kevin Durant off the bench to be that scoring 3-point punch while also being a pretty solid defender. I think if Royce can just obviously have some of these guys, these stars, stay healthy, it will obviously showcase his game better because he will be required to play in a lesser role, which I think he is more beneficial for a Suns team. And I think he could be a key X factor for this team going into the playoffs here, as he could be that spark plug off the bench as the Suns look to maybe move off of some of those other players that play a similar role like Royce to go and find some other key roles that are needed and impactful for this team to be a true championship contender. But like I said, Royce O'Neale has stepped up, and this is exactly what the Phoenix Suns need. Like I said, they have been a dominant Western Conference team when fully healthy. So if they can keep this up, make sure players like Booker, Beal, Durant, Tyus can stay healthy and can have some of these role players like Royce O'Neale, Ryan Dunn, Josh Okogie, Oso Ighodaro, Mason Plumlee really truly step up. I think that this Suns team can figure out what the true holes are in their roster and ultimately build a championship contender this season. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. If you're at the point of this video and you still have yet to hit the subscribe button, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe. Make sure to enjoy the Suns content here. Like I said, we're going to be getting all the content for you guys this month. We're putting on the grind for the end of this year, heading into next year. So I will be posting and trying to do my best with daily Suns videos for you guys here. The last month was a little bit busy on the weekends, but we are no longer doing that. So we will be putting that grind on, trying to get videos out for you, maybe doing some post games in the morning, and definitely trying to get those live streams cooking up again. I want to start getting those back into rotation with myself, possibly with CJ, getting a day and a time set up so we can do those live streams. And then for those live streams as well, getting some guests, because I know we were obviously a guest on the Suns Planet Pod a little while ago. Shout out to them. But I do want to have some other Suns guests on our show, possibly even Suns Planet Pod, and some other people out there as well. So if you know some Suns fan that would love to hop on the channel or possibly be a part of a live stream, drop down who they are in the comment section, or maybe tag us in their stuff so we can get in some communications with them. Once again, like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. I really do appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving over on the channel as we try to get to 2,000 subscribers by the start of the new year. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, y'all.